Let's get started. Okay, so yesterday we began learning how the Shabbas Nachamu that's coming up this Shabbas is connected to all days of the week that preceded, and the Haftarah of the Parsha is connected to the Parsha that's read with it. So not only is the Haftarah about Hashem comforting us, but also the theme of the Parsha itself is also connected to Hashem's comfort. Just briefly, the way we got to this was, we said the Haftarah has 21 verses minimum. That's halachic requirement. And the reason that's to have 21 verses is to correspond. It was meant to take the place of the Torah reading at one point in history when there were decrees forbidding us to read the Torah. So at that time we had read the Haftarah instead. As a child, I used to always think that this is the half Torah. Never. Anyways, you had to be there. So there's 21 verses. Why 21 verses? Because just like in the Torah reading, there has to be a minimum of 3 verses per person of the 7 readings. So the Haftarah, which was meant to take the place of that, has to have 21 verses. And since the 21 verses are connected to the 7 readings, so it follows that the entire Torah portion is connected to the Haftarah. Not only is the Maftir that Leah read prior to the Haftarah connected to the Haftarah, but the entire Parsha is connected to the Haftarah, and therefore the whole Ves Chanon has a relevance to the theme of the comfort. So, how does Nachamu connect with Hashem's comfort? What does Nachamu have to do with Hashem comforting us? So, one thing we learned so far is that Ves Chanon is a request. Just like Nachamu is a request, you're asking Hashem to comfort us. So too, Ves Chanon, Moshe Rabbeinu is davening to Hashem, asking Hashem for something. And the kind of request that Moshe Rabbeinu is making of Hashem is unique. There are different languages the Torah uses to describe a prayer, describe a request. And Ves Chanon is the highest kind of prayer. It's a prayer that is answered in a way that's immediate. Who has a prayer that Hashem answers right away? Remember Dr. Resman?
Who has it?
Who is able to make that prayer that Hashem right away responds to them? We said that the one who has this kind of prayer is a Baal Tshuva.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So the Rambam says about Baal Tshuva is someone who Hashem responds to immediately. Just like his tshuva is in one moment, as we learned yesterday, the meaning of the Zohar, b'shaita chada, which literally means 1 hour, the Friedrich Rebbe explains it means in care, one turn. The meaning of tshuva means that you have one turn towards Hashem. So when there is that kind of prayer, a prayer of a Baal Tshuva, so that causes an immediate response in Shemayim. Just like about Tshuva, he serves Hashem beyond time, and that's why he's able, as we'll see today, affect the past and transform his sins into merits. So too, in regards to his prayer, he's able to cause an immediate response from Hashem, and that's also connected to the words Nachamu, Nachamu, the double expression: "Be comforted, be comforted." We learned yesterday that double expressions in Judaism in general have to do with something which is infinite, and double expressions are also related to tshuva. How so? We found by the second tablets that Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu, these second tablets are not just going to replace the other ones. Don't feel bad about the first ones. These are kaflayim, they're double. And we learned that the word double doesn't just mean that they're going to have twice as much, literally double, but double means infinite. There's something that the second tablets, which are infinitely greater than the first tablets, and that's because of the tshuva Jewish people did between tablets A and tablets B. Their tshuva causes this exponential revelation in Torah that wasn't there before. Hashem gave us with the second tablets, not just the original plan according to the plan A, which was really plan 0, because Hashem knew what was going to happen, but according to the divine energy that we could have elicited as tzaddikim, we would have only have been given the 5 books of the Torah in the book of Joshua. Because of the tshuva, we're able to also receive the entire Tanakh and the Medrash and the Talmud that we wouldn't have been given had we not made a mistake and had we not done tshuva. So the meaning of the double comfort is something which is infinitely greater because of the tshuva. So this will help us understand. And that's why we said that the holiday, the 15th of Av, is beyond all of the other holidays, is because of the descent that reaches the higher ascent. Okay, so now we're going to go further to explain exactly what tshuva and the double comfort that comes with it has to do with eschana. Why eschana? Why does eschana have to do with this special kind of prayer that's answered immediately, and with this infinite comfort of the coming of Mashiach? What does that do with eschana? So, word of eschana means, Rashi says, when you ask someone for chaninus, for a gift of mercy, you're asking for a matnas chinam. You're asking for a present for free. You're asking for something which is totally for free. You're asking that it should be without deserving anything. It should be totally a free gift. So tzaddikim could also do that, because Rashi says that even though tzaddikim have a lot of points over there in their bank, they got a lot of mileage, but nevertheless, they don't ask Hashem because of their merits. It says that there are tzaddikim who are called avirei leiv, harachokim mitzdaka. They're called strong-hearted people who are far from charity, which means the whole world is given nourishment because of Hashem's tzedakah, because Hashem has just been kind to us. We don't deserve it. But tzaddikim, they're able to walk over to that counter and say, "Hey, I have A, B, and C in this account. I want to make a withdrawal." So they're called far from God's charity, meaning that they have merit. They have a reason to ask. But nevertheless, they don't ask from Hashem because of their merit. The way they approach Hashem, the way tzaddikim approach Hashem is they ask Hashem for a gift. That's the way in general tzaddikim. The way of tzaddikim is they don't ask Hashem, "Hey, we deserve something." They ask Hashem as a gift. But okay, they could ask Hashem that way, but they really have a right to ask. The real classification of a free gift, that applies to Baalei Tshuva specifically. Why? So to understand why this is relevant specifically to Baalei Tshuva, even though tzaddikim ask Hashem in the same manner, we'll have to explain a little bit more about the difference between a tzaddik and a Baalei Tshuva. I'm able to explain this a little better today because of an experience I had yesterday. I couldn't believe this. One of my missions I was given in this world was to go to this gym on Figueroa Street in downtown and to put on film with a gentleman every single day. And Figueroa, anyone who's familiar, is in Los Angeles itself. It's one of the hardest places to find parking. So I'm trying to maintain this every day, put on film, and some days yes, some days no, some days yes with a parking ticket. One of those. Some days the gentleman that I decided that I have to help is not interested in my help. He's too busy because of his job, whatever. Anyways, yesterday this guy shows up in shul, and I can't believe it. This guy, he looks like a regular shliach of the Rebbe. He looks like he is a Chabad rabbi. I'm like, can't be the same guy. And the guy says that a few months ago, he had a life-threatening event. He went to the Rebbe's ohel, and basically the doctors told him that because of his condition, he would likely not survive. But if he did survive, he would lose his voice. So he wrote to the Rebbe, he wants a bracha that he should be able to survive. and he should have his voice. And he pledged that if he has his voice, he's going to use it to be a chassid of the Rebbe and do what the Rebbe wants. And this guy is literally a powerhouse. Thank God he survived. He has his voice, and he's putting on film with more people way beyond. We were to measure our points against each other this past week. I was inspired yesterday, but we're measuring our points where he's been, what he's done. So this is an intro to explain the difference between a tzaddik and Baal Tshuva. It says by tzaddikim that even a tzaddik gomer who serves Hashem with love and reverence and his love is a love of delight, as described in Tanya. Nevertheless, he's still a somebody. He's a somebody. He's his own man. He loves Hashem. He has reverence for Hashem, but he's a somebody. But a Baal Tshuva is someone who is completely abnegated to Hashem's desire. And that's the reason why we have this halacha by a Baal Tshuva that his sins are transformed to mitzvahs. And not just that it's considered as if they were mitzvahs. They're considered literal mitzvahs. The Baal Tshuva is able to cause his sins to become literal mitzvahs. So, if he sinned, he made a mistake, how can he suddenly become, all of a sudden, he is desired by Hashem to the extent that his sins become mitzvahs? What did the guy, how could that be? The answer is that the Baal Tshuva becomes a completely new entity. It wasn't there before. As Rambam writes the words, I am somebody else, not the same person that did those deeds. And because of that, the Torah says that he's not the same guy. His tshuva has made him completely, in the words of the Mishnah, batel ritzeincha. Batel ritzeincha means nullify your will to Hashem's will. It doesn't only say you should make your will like Hashem's will. That's one level. You decide that whatever Hashem wants is what you want. A Baal Tshuva has a higher relationship with Hashem, that he abnegates his will for the sake of Hashem's will, that there is only the will of Hashem. So he's a different kind of guy. So that's why his sins turn into mitzvahs. That's why he's forgiven. He is in a state of total bittul. Okay, but the Rebbe asks, since his whole existence has completely been, his previous existence is totally not there anymore, so how can we say he's now become a new entity? And how can we say that he is nullifying his will? He doesn't have any will at all. He's totally, he's become this guy who has a zero entity. He's now a non-thing. He's not an entity in the first place. What do you mean he is now a new entity? His state of tshuva has brought him to be totally abnegated to Hashem's will. There's no one there. So the Rebbe says, by doing tshuva, beyond all limitations, beyond his seder shtalshuls, God helps a person that he should become a new entity. And this assistance that Hashem gives this person is in a way of a matnas chinam, it's in a way of a free gift. So this I want to say what I think this means to me. What there was question, there was answers, and what this has to do with the prayers that are answered immediately. Earlier on this year, we learned this mimer about Eliezer, the servant of Avram, that we learned how his prayers are unique. Hashem answers him immediately. And the words that the Rebbe used in that mimer were that he is able to elicit Geshem Nedavis, a magnanimous rain from heaven. And the Rebbe said that what is special about this guy, that he gets this magnanimous rain. His immediate response from Hashem, it's because he is like a servant of Avram, which means he's not asking for himself. He's only asking for the sake of Hashem. There's no sense of self there. He's making a request of Hashem, but his request of Hashem is not about himself. His request of Hashem is about Hashem. And therefore, since there's such a magnanimous request, it also causes this magnanimous response, it seems. So it's the Rebbe was in that discourse was saying it's not just something that some people should have done in history. The Rebbe was saying that this is a way we should daven to Eivishter. This is a way you should approach Hashem. You should approach Hashem in a way that Hashem should answer him right away. So based on that, I think we're saying over here about Baal Tshuva, why are his prayers answered immediately? His prayers are answered immediately because there's no mitzias, because he is batal retzoncha, he's nullified his existence to Hashem, and so therefore his prayers are totally selfless. His prayers are Hashem's prayers. He's asking, but it's not. It's a different. He's asking that Hashem's will should be fulfilled. Very simply, we learned this several times. We learned a few times about how when Chana came to the Beis Hamikdash and Eli thought that she was drunk, and she responded to Eli, "I'm not drunk. I'm pouring out my soul before Hashem." We learned a few times how her request appeared to Eli as a drunken request, which means he knew she was praying to Hashem, but he felt that her prayer wasn't appropriate in the place that she was in. She should think more about Hashem's desire instead of her own personal desire for a child. So she responded to Eli HaKohen, "I'm pouring out my soul before Hashem. Yes, this is my request, but you should know, where is this request coming from? It's coming from the essence of my neshama. I want a child. You know I want a child because when a God gives me a child, I'm going to dedicate my child to Hashem." At the breast of him, I remember your speech in 770, how you said over there in Rosh Chodesh Kislev that you sacrifice your secular child for your Jewish child, and that's the idea is that you're asking taka and you're asking something that you want, but where's the request really coming from? It's coming because your neshama wants it. So ordinarily we feel more ourselves than we feel our neshama. But someone who's experienced tshuva and experienced this, as the Rebbe Shabbas says, tshuva is like running away from death. But this person experiences this high level of I don't want to be the where I was, and I want the Eibishter. So then the voice of Chana emerges in a stronger way than our animal soul ordinarily coats our soul's requests in a way that we're not sensitive to our inner heart's desires. But with tshuva, that inner voice emerges, and your request is taka from Hashem because it's Hashem's desire. We have both, and that's why the Rebbe says that you need to have the question of Eli HaKohen sometimes to make you talk from your soul. Eli's question is something we should ask ourselves. Why are you asking for this? Not because you shouldn't ask, but you should ask yourself that question so that you should summon that inner voice of Chana and say, "No, I'm asking this because that's what Hashem wants." So that's what I think the Rebbe is referring to. And now the second point the Rebbe says, is that how can he become a new entity? Is not an entity. What's the Rebbe referring to? Perhaps the Rebbe is referring to is that sometimes Yidden do tshuva, and they are trying so hard to do tshuva that they lose a sense of self in their process. And Hashem, the reason why Hashem wanted in Plan B that Adam and Eve should eat from the tree is because Hashem wants to have a home in the lowest room. There should be people, human beings, and many people who did tshuva would come to them and say, "Okay, I'm throwing away my paintbrushes. I know I used to be this world famous artist, but now I'm doing tshuva. I used to be a rock star, and now I'm doing tshuva." And there have been time and time again, let's tell the person, no, those paintbrushes are valuable. That's why Hashem gave you them. Where you are is not something that you decide. Where you are is Hashem decides, and you have to use that. So, but that ability to be able to do both things is something divine. It's not something a human being could do, because either you're going to be on where you were, or you're going to be on this new place. And so if a person's in the state of tshuva, to be able to go and to recreate themselves as about tshuva, using what Hashem had given them, that's a gift to Hashem. I think that's what Rebbe is referring to. And let's conclude over here what Rebbe is saying. Maybe Hashem's will. Hashem should give every single Jew, even tzaddikim, a gift, a free gift. As it says in the halacha, when you give someone a gift, the halacha, it says that there are different transactions of different items that it's hard to figure out what the definition of an item is, and depends why the person gave that item. So let's say a person sold a house, but he also sell the back house. So many times in halacha, it makes a distinction between a sale and a gift. And it says if a person sold it, so then the sale you assume that he didn't sell anything more valuable than the money he received. But with a gift, he gives the good eye. So Hashem, if Hashem is giving us a gift, Hashem gives us a gift for the good eye. As Rashi explains in Bava Basra, that he gives more than the normal measure. What this means simply that Hashem should give hatzlacha to every single Jew in every matter of their life, both in their spiritual affairs and their service of Hashem, and this should also bring comfort in their physical matters in their life, because the physicality of a Jew comes from their spirituality. from the full and open and holy hand of Hashem in a way, as it says in the Torah, I will pour blessing upon you ad bli dai. And as Gemara explained, until your lips wither from saying it's too much, it's too much. It's like that's how much the bracha should come down in that way, that bracha until it's beyond our needs, way beyond, until we get the main bracha, which is connected with tshuva, because it says that Mashiach, it will make Bali, or even tzaddikim do tshuva. So we should arrive at the main bracha, we should get to the tshuva, the coming Mashiach Tzidkenu, God of Mamash.